Translocation. Let me just get my volume up here. Okay, yeah. So yes, and we hear from you guys out there that this is a what you call it. It is a topic that is very confusing because you often get it confused between transpiration and translocation. Now, on Instagram, I know we kind of put there that we're gonna show you the differences between transpiration and translocation, but I think we'll go through making the note for translocation first, and then we'll talk about the differences. And we also talked about how what's a really, really bad way to try and study or try and do notes for translocation, right? So yeah, we're gonna get started. But before we do, I'm Erica, and this is Joe down here. Hi, we're teachers who hated studying because memorizing did not work for us. In fact, like I was an average student, yeah, who actually did well in her exams. All right, simply because my mom was really good at she was fierce, number one. Number two, she believed in us. That's what made her fierce. If we were dumb, she wouldn't care about our grades.
Okay.
Yeah, but she thought, yeah, my kids are smart, so why not, right? So yeah, and I think but the thing is that she kind of made learning fun as she could for us. So these techniques were kind of from that, and also Imaginotes is kind of out of the fact that I didn't like studying, but I had to get good grades because I didn't want to get into trouble anymore with my parents. But I didn't want to spend that much time studying, so I had to find a way where I could still get good grades, spending very little time studying and a lot more time playing. And thus, Imaginotes is born. We never name-framed it until recently, Hajo. We went back and forth on the name a lot. And the reason why it's called Imaginotes is because it requires creativity, it requires the use of your imagination, and because of that, the sky is the limit for everybody. Yeah. So there we go. Let's get started with translocation. But before we get onto that, Joe, if they have enjoyed our episodes so far, they join us week after week. What should they do?
You can hit the subscribe button or follow us on our social media. We are on TikTok, Instagram. Yeah.
Yes, we have embraced the TikTok. Joe, I don't know if you can see the chat on your side because on my side it's not loading for some reason.
Chat. Let me say. There's no chat at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I can see the chat.
Okay, so guys, normally if you interact with us, we will happily interact back with you.
Amber is here. Amber, say hey.
Hi, Amber. Okay, Joe, you're gonna have to monitor the chat. It's just not loading on my side for some strange reason.
Okay,
Hi, Amber. And Amber was the one who gave us this topic. Because she's like, oh, this is horrible. This is a horrible.
Was complaining about diffusion, osmosis, and what was the other one? Active transport.
Yes, indeed. So the worst way. Let's talk about the worst way to take notes. Joe, what is your take on that?
Copy exactly from the textbook. That's the worst.
All right, that is the absolute worst. Yeah. Another thing that I think is horrible is highlighting everything in the textbook.
Oh yes. Last time we were told to buy highlighters just to highlight the textbook, isn't it? Highlight the points.
Yes. So that one, yeah. I mean, no shade to any of you because those of you who do that, we get that it's scary. From talking to Amber, who's our intern, and also she just graduated and did her IGCSEs. We know that it's kind of like a security for every student to know that you get everything down pat, like everything down pat. So if you're missing details from your notes, it's a form of security if you add that into your notes and things like that. Yeah. So the thing is that I think very few people teach you how to identify the important things to put in your notes. Now, if you're watching this, we're not going to go into that today. But if you need help, like if one of the things that you struggle with is like, how do I identify which are the important things to put into my notes, right? Just give us a holler in the comments and we will happily fill in the gaps for you. Yeah. Okay. So yes. Yes, I realized that we forgot to put, like, I forgot to put in the how to say, the links for you guys last week. So yeah, we're gonna get right on that right after the show. Okay, yeah. So forgot, but I remembered today. Yeah. All right. So moving into it, yeah. So now, if you like what we're hearing so far, please hit the subscribe button down there and the bell notification, because we're always gonna be here having your back when it comes to studying. All right, studying when it comes to studying very little and making sure you progress a lot and getting scoring lots and lots of points for your grades. Ta-da! Ta-da! Okay, so yes. Ugh. All right, so let's get into translocation now. Translocation, Joe. Does that sound like a Harry Potter spell to you, or some sort of like superpower?
It's like the Guardian Leviosa, isn't it?
Yeah, or transmogrification. I guess that's from, where was that? Calvin and Hobbes, I think.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I was gonna spell transmogrification instead of translocation.
Well,
Okay.
literally transfer location. So
Yeah. Well, to me, it sounds like, it sounds like it's gonna, like disappear and like reappear right there. Yeah. Yes. So yes, and guys, there are times where I do highlight everything in the book, and simply because I just don't know what to highlight. So it's a very, very common problem that you have there. Yeah, it's very, very normal to feel that way. Now I'm gonna draw, because to me it sounds like a magic spell. I'm gonna draw a flower here, and okay, I'm gonna draw it holding a wand. Okay, that's my version of a wand. Pardon me. Okay. Yeah, so last week we posted, I think 2 weeks ago, we posted a note, and people were like saying, do you need to, we did a definition for anhydrous, how to remember it, a difficult definition like that. And someone actually wrote in there, do you need to draw well?
yeah.
What if you can't draw? And I'm like, it's okay, I can't either.
Mm.
This is as far as I go. That's why Joe's not doing it. Joe can draw, like way better than me. But we're doing this because we want to encourage those of you who think you can't draw, who think you can't draw, to kind of just draw. Because see, the thing about Imaginotes, one, it does take creativity. Two, it does, like, because it's your imagination, there's no limit to what you can do with it. Three, you want to make use of this thing. Have you guys heard of the saying? Comment yes, yeah, if you've heard of the saying. A picture says 1,000 words.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So those of you who have heard that, just say yes. Type 1 in the comment or say yes. And yeah, so basically, you want to take advantage of the fact that pictures are 1,000 words. Yeah. So even if it's a stick figure, because it's your imagination, it's. Woo. I heard myself. Okay, so diving straight into it. All right, yeah, I know this is the third time I say it, but I promise this is it. Okay, sorry guys, I keep forgetting like what I'm supposed to say. That's fine. Okay, so translocation. Let's look at the definition of it. Right, it is the transportation. So we're gonna draw it. So here's a very easy way to remember definitions. Okay, so it is the transportation of what we call sucrose. So I drew transportation, right?
Yeah.
And amino acids. That is my version of amino acids.
I actually search up like what is amino acids.
Oh yeah. So what is it, Joe?
So it's basically just one small component of protein.
What does it do? Oh, so plants have protein too?
If you line up like a few of them, it will become protein.
Interesting.
So it has components like nitrogen, carbon, hydrogen, stuff like that.
Very cool. All right. So I'm gonna do this in green here. Okay. So so the whole definition is that it's the it's the transportation of sucrose and amino acids from, all right, regions of production.
Which is place producing this.
Yes, so I'm just gonna do this. So what you can do here, because for me, production, I always think of factory. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you, and normally production happens in the leaves, right? Because of
Mm.
photosynthesis. So if you actually want to do this, you could try and give this very leaf-like motifs, right? So you
Yep.
can actually like draw this more like this, you know, and add this leaf motif here.
Mm.
Right? You can totally do that. Yeah. So I'm pretending this is like the Carlsberg factory we passed by. Is it Carlsberg? On the federal highway. So you can do that. All right. So from the regions of production, all right, to okay, the regions of storage. So I'm going to draw a warehouse here.
Could be a silo.
Yeah, it could be a silo too. Yeah, if you guys play farm games, a silo is one of those tower-like things.
Where
Yeah.
you store all your corns.
Yes. All the corns that you conned out of people. Corned out of people. All right. All right. So regions of storage to regions of use. All right. So I was thinking, because when they use it, when the plants use it, it's actually to build things up. So I would draw like either a house being built or a construction site. So to me, the mark of a construction site is actually the crane. Not this crane, but the crane. Oh no, that's the same. Okay, you get what I mean. All right.
Yep.
So all right. So yeah. So you can see it's that. So the leaves here remind us that these are products of photosynthesis.
Mm.
You can actually add that into your notes.
You can draw sunlight.
You can do that too. Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna draw a little sun here.
Yeah, a little sun that is shining onto the factory or something.
Yep. And of course, you can do this much neater than me, yeah, guys. It's totally fine. Yeah.
We're doing it on
And you can totally like and what I do is you can also draw a plant here. Okay. And roots system. And it's just kind of a reminder that because it goes up and down the phloem, right? So okay, the phloem is alive, number one. All right. So I draw a live plant, and then it can go in any direction, unlike the xylem.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. So I'm just gonna draw little arrows here to kind of like show, like, oh yeah, it's all over the place. Oh wow. Oh yeah, all over. Haha. In, out, wherever. Okay. So yeah. There we go. All right. And that's it. That's it. Your definition right there. Okay. Because I read the definition, it's like one long sentence.
Read you. What is it? Oh, the movement of sucrose and amino acids in phloem from regions of production to regions of storage or the regions of utilization in respiration or growth.
See, guys? See, guys? So many words.
You need to spread one more arrow to the place that will use the.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yep.
Let me do the place that will use it.
You need to branch it up, yeah.
But yeah, can.
Basically, places that needed growth will need this.
Yes.
It's like vitamins.
Yes. Yeah, so I think Amber did talk about how it is actually quite confusing, right? Because you have to understand this idea called sink and source.
Yeah.
Right? So, all right. So we are going to use a blue pen here. So let's think about the definition of a sink, all right, and a source. Okay. So source would be something where something comes from, correct? So between the two pictures here, right, guys, which picture? So I want to. So the thing about this also is that I think school, they give you a bunch of content. They just throw it at you. Words, long sentences, long definitions. All right, and a lot of these things, like I think in bio, yeah, that's nightmare. I did not study biology, guys. Just so you know, I did not study bio. Okay, and for a good reason. All right, and I had to study in Bahasa, so I was just like, no way, because there's too many syllables to remember. Like it's faster when you say it in English, but in BM it can be like in Bahasa Malaysia it can be like so long. So I opted to do something else instead. But why are we doing this? Because we found a creative way of studying, and we want to share it with you guys. Yes, and if you guys like more of that, would like to see more of that, please help us out by hitting the like and subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notifications.
Yes.
So we can ding you whenever. Bing. Okay, yeah. Oh, that sounds wrong. Okay, cancel that. All right. So based on let's get back to this. So based on source and sink, right? So source is where things come from, right? So all right. So did anyone say on the chat yet, Joe? Did anyone?
Amber said it's painful.
Got it. All right. So because source is where things come from, so obviously something that produces food, right, would definitely be a source. Okay. So I'm going to write here that this is the source. Okay. Now, a sink, right? Well, I know we use it to wash hands and all that. It generally doesn't get used to store water, but if you're a household that does wash vegetables in the sink and you have that plug, right, then it is obviously a sink, right? So it's something that you can store things in, right?
Yes.
So then based on the diagram, then this would be it. Okay. Now, in biological terms, right, the sink is where the plant can store the thing or use it.
Yeah.
So those are sink areas. Okay. So see, very clear, right? We just took, Joe, could you raise the textbook again? We just took all of that into this. Pictures speak 1,000 words. All right. So I hope this is helping you. All right. Now, the next part is this. If I were to teach this chapter, all right, the worst way you can also study, I feel, is by just reading. That's what Joe and I did. Unfortunately, we had to, because we had to try and figure out what it was that you guys were struggling with. And so we faced the struggle too.
Yeah.
Struggle. Tears. Anyhow. So we're going to move on to the next part, which is remembering which is the source, which is the sink at which times of the year. All right. So for me, this is like if you guys play strategy games or, those farm games or anything like that.
Zombie.
Sorry?
Plants versus Zombies.
Plants versus Zombies. Yes, those are very, very perfect, examples of that. All right. Now, you want to look at this very logically. All right. Now, okay, let's say this plant is in an area where, so plants normally store things during droughts or in temperate climates where there's the 4 seasons, where, they'll have to survive the winter.
Yeah.
Okay, now, when is the time where it's a great time to produce food? If you think about it, like say if you live in a 4-season country, all right, you're a farmer, right? When is the best time to produce food?
Spring.
Yeah, so spring, summer, autumn, but spring and autumn still a bit cold, so only certain crops, I guess, can grow at that point. Yeah, summer's too hot for some crops and all that, all right? But summer is when everything's like, woo, voila, I'm vibrant, I'm lush, okay? So if you think about it, where does the plant produce food?
Comment below.
Comment below. Yeah, so I want to walk you guys through this very logically. All right, think of it like a survival game. All right, now logically, based on the definition that we know of, right? Sucrose and amino acids, right? It comes from photosynthesis. All right, so obviously, the place where they would be producing food will probably be these areas, right? Because that's why we drew leaves on this factory to kind of remind us that this would be, and this is the source. Yeah. Okay, so in the summertime, this would be the source. So where then would be the sink? if that's the case. Now, during the summer is also a great time for plants to reproduce.
Yes.
All right. And it's also a great time for, okay, if you know you're going to starve in the winter, where would you put your food? Think about it. Like, really, really think about it. Okay, let's think about like winter first. Okay, let's think about survival. That's like the major thing, right? So survival, all right, you need food. You'd obviously store it somewhere below the ground,
Yes.
right? Where it's cooler, it's not too hot, food doesn't rot. Okay, so plants do this. They convert the sucrose, all right, into starch. How do
Okay.
I draw starch? Okay, I'm just gonna draw sticky glue here. Yeah.
Well, Amber says the S in study stands for struggle.
Yes, I've also seen a meme where it says the study means students dying. It's short form for students dying. I'm like, and back then when I read that, I'm just like, yes, they have never spoken a truer word. All right. So in the summer, all right, the sources are here. The sink is here. All right. Now, plants need to survive, right? Because like they don't. I mean, and if they're trees, maybe they'll grow really, really old. All right. So, but they need to reproduce as well. So that's part of survival, right? So the other place where there will be a sink, all right, in the summertime, all right, and I'm gonna use my blue one here. Okay, so in the summer, this is the source. These are the sinks. Okay, I hope this is making sense, right? So if you think about it from a survival standpoint, this is the things that you will do, all right, as a plant. Like if I was a plant, like strategically, this would probably work. All right, now let's look at winter. Okay, because all right, now if the plant didn't store anything in the sinks, what's going to happen to it? Okay, now in the winter, yeah. So in the winter, all right, this doesn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah, the leaves were all like wilted or died.
Yeah, they would have lost their leaves. Okay, now this is probably a grass generalization, guys, but bear with me, okay? In terms of the way we're drawing this and the plant could be a wrong representation. If you guys know better, please go ahead. But the key thing here that we want you guys to get out of this is basically how you can really, really save time by using pictures to cut down on the number of words that you have to memorize. Yeah. Just at a snapshot like this, can you imagine, like, instead of looking at all those words, it's just a picture that you can immediately like, oh, okay, I get it now. Okay. So now, if you get rid of this, right, during the winter, the plants will survive on the storage down here. All right. So potatoes and all that starch. Okay. And they'll stay that way. All right. Until spring comes around. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I represent spring? Okay.
Flower,
So
budding.
okay. So now winter, all right. Obviously then, if you think about it, they stored a lot of food here. Okay. So now this is the food source.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this is the food source. And it's just really logical. Yeah. All right. Because this is what they'll need to survive through the winter. Okay. I think I hanged.
No. Oh.
Oh, okay. A little bit.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to use green to represent spring. Okay, now you notice that we only use 3 colors, guys. This is for those of you who may be overwhelmed by the amount of colors there are. So I choose like a color palette that I think goes really well, and those are my notes for the year kind of thing. Okay, now in the spring, ding, ding, let's call it spring. Okay, where would the source be? Because this is not there yet. Right. So logically speaking, what's been powering you throughout winter so you can survive until the sun comes out again next spring is here, right? So in spring, this is still going to be the source. All right. And they're going to start growing things again. All right. So then this part here will be the sink. All right. Obviously, you can draw like a smaller one here if you want and call that a sink. All right. Because they're going to be starting from buds and all this kind of things. All right. So, yeah, there we go.
Yep.
All right. So we just cut down, I think it's about 4 paragraphs in the textbook. Okay. And to make it less confusing for you guys, you could totally also number it. All right. So you know the step-by-step explanation to this. Yeah. So, but anyhow, this is how I would take my notes. Yeah. So that I don't have to remember anything. All right. Now, if you're worried that there are certain definitions that you forget, feel free to label sucrose to starch. All right. For storage. All right. And then in spring, they convert the starch. All right. To sucrose so that the plants can grow again. Yeah. Over here, they just use the starch to survive. All right. So you can actually, put all these little bits here if you think you're gonna forget. Yeah. And yes, remember the more creative the note, the more you might have to just label it a little bit more. Yeah. So this one I'll put here survival. Okay. Yeah. It's not just starch, but oils and other minerals that they've gathered. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we did it, Joe.
Yep.
Just in time. So if you guys have found this helpful, Joe, what can they do?
Yes, you can like and subscribe to us, or you can follow us on our social media or TikTok.
Yay! And just so you guys know, we are in the process of making these notes available to you guys. We are basically building Imaginotes, not like this. I mean, this is how I would do it, but we're actually prettifying it. So Nad and Yvonne, our artists, are taking this to the next level so that you can save time, all right, from not having to memorize or do rote memorization, like repeating, and not getting anything. You get this beautiful visual note that you can study from that can guarantee your A's. Because when you take notes like this from the get-go, right, you're not just taking it to store information, you're taking it so that immediately when you glance at it, recall. Because that's what exams are all about. Exams test your ability to recall, not just memorizing, but not just inputting the information, but being able to access it, all right, when the time comes. All right, and use it. So those of you taking extended paper, it's about application. God knows in chemistry, I feel you guys, it's about, you're not even trying to recall or regurgitate the information. They're actually making you use the information that, honestly, when I look at it, there's no reason for you to care about how it's used unless you are a scientist yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you struggling with chemistry, you might want to consider that that's one of the reasons why you are struggling with it. Yeah, because there's just lacking so much context. But anyway, we talk about that in our other episodes. So if you want more clarity on that, you can check out our previous episodes. Any chemistry topic that we've been tackling, you'll get it there. Okay. Yeah. So we hope this helps you. Joe, do you have anything else to add?
So for those who missed out the transpiration, you can just go to our playlist and watch back the transpiration. Then you can have like a more wholesome idea about plant transportation, whether they transport the water or they transport the food. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And we did promise you on Instagram that we will show you how to differentiate the two. All right. But we won't show it to you today because we wanted to show you how to really make this note fun for yourself and easy to study from that you can recall. However, if I were to approach it, transpiration and translocation, all right, I would do a chart where I have transpiration on one side and translocation on the other side. And I would note down the differences between the two so that at a glance, I can immediately see. So for example, transpiration deals with the water, deals with breathing, air, right? Whereas translocation deals with food, right? And then I know that transpiration happens because the water flows up the xylem, which is basically dead cells, whereas the phloem, is a living cell.
Yeah.
So you can actually go like this and this, this and this. So you can see the differences. Yeah, instead of having to memorize like 6 different things, because the textbook has it in separate sections on different pages. So you want to just put it side by side. So anytime you guys have something that you're confused with, always, always, always use a diagram. Oh, sorry, use a table. Yeah, so you can see the differences right across. All right, we've done that too for like how to identify metals and non-metals. Yeah, it was just so much easier. How to recognize, I think, was it mixtures, substances, and one more other thing. Yeah, we've also done it there as well. Yeah, to just kind of, it just makes it so much easier. So you want to save time, have your notes snapshot. All right. And studying smart is about creating ease, not struggle. So for us, yes, it's a little bit like you guys might think like this is quite troublesome, but trust me, you're creating ease for yourself by doing this. Yeah, it just gets easy. Yeah. All right. Versus putting in the effort to struggle to memorize and not remember anything. Yeah. We've been there. Yeah. So anyhow, thank you so much for joining us today. We totally enjoy, and it's such a pleasure always being able to share this with you guys. And that's one of the reasons that we are doing this, because we know the struggles. Yeah, we know the struggles, and not all of us are lucky to have parents like Joe, like Joe's parents, where they were okay with whatever grades he got.
They're more carefree, basically.
Yeah, they're more carefree. Yeah, he's here as a reminder of what could have been. No, but he's also here because like he's my brains in crime, where this is concerned. Okay, all right, and he has a lot of insight and knowledge. Yeah, that's not damaged by school or exams. So I like having him here because he's like the ray of light.
Well, I hate science to begin with. So.
Yes, he's been with us for 9 years, guys. So his specialty is to actually turn these things into games. Yeah. So maybe we could create a survival game for people based on the plant. Get your food there. Store it there. Yeah. Then you probably get the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would do that if I was teaching a class of biology. I would totally do that.
I think there is a game about photosynthesis specifically.
Oh, okay. What's it called?
I can't remember. What's it called? It's a board game.
Oh, was it the one with the tree one that you showed?
Yeah, the growth of the tree one. It's a
Oh,
very
yeah, that's
simple
right.
ideology about photosynthesis.
Okay. All right, guys.
It's like you are the tree, or you are the forest itself, and then you kind of like want to compete the others to survive through 4 seasons or something like that. Hi, yeah, it's a survival game.
Yes. I remember you telling me about that. Okay, we will link that to the bio if you guys are interested in looking it up. And because active learning yields more understanding and remembering. Yeah. compared to just sitting down. Sorry, Joe?
Plant versus Zombies. Teacher Charles says Plant versus Zombies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just the simplest idea of how plant harvests the sunlight, and then you get the superpower to kill the zombie.
Yes. Totally. Yep. And yeah, those are the best things we can have, that we can sort of like recommend to you guys. All right. Thank you so much for hanging in there. We love you guys, and stay safe and stay awesome. We'll see you.
See ya. Bye.